What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and in this video I'm going to be talking about fintech or financial technology and how it's making formulas that we learn in college finance irrelevant, and how it's almost a waste of time for you to fully understand every formula that is taught to you, to memorize that formula. I mean, it's okay to memorize for the exam, but to really just learn the formula, it's almost a waste of time at this point, right? It's hard to avoid fintech because once you go out there, you are going to be using the tools that replicate what the formula does, so you never have to go back into using that formula manually. But there are people that need to understand those formulas, people that need to fully understand how they work, how to construct those formulas. Those are going to be the people that are in positions to build the tools, which is the financial technology that helps us. Think about, I'm going to relate this to a mechanic, right? Let's say I have a car and I know what, a certain part does, but I'm not going to be able to understand how it works or how to fix it more than a mechanic would do, right? So that's kind of like how it works. The average person does not need to fully understand how each formula works. So I'll give you an example, Microsoft Excel, right, which is probably the biggest. We use that to calculate a lot of things, like, we can use an example of the sum formula, right? The sum formula is essentially summing things up, right? But if you want to break it down to a formula, you can go on your calculator or on your paper and be like 1 plus 1, right? Or you can just go in Excel and be like sum, then you pick the numbers and it does it for you. So that's kind of like how fintech does it. But the people that are building the software or the financial technology, they have to fully understand the formula to the tiniest detail so that it's easier for you, who is the end user. Now we can talk about things like investment apps like Robinhood, right? If you have taken or plan on taking an investment class in college, you are going to learn how to calculate things like the beta of a stock, the dividend yield, things like that. You are going to learn how to calculate these things. But if you go on Robinhood, you can pull up any company. You're going to be able to see that information. Oh, here's the market share. Oh, here's the dividend yield. Here is this, here's that number. You are going to be able to see that, right? This is because the person that built that interface or that fintech or financial technology, they were essentially replicating that formula so you do not have to do the work. Now we're going to talk about things like platforms like Yahoo Finance. If you're in college, you're taking, let's say, a corporate finance class or even investment class, you have to learn how to construct an income statement, right? You have to learn how to read that. But if you go out into the real world, you can simply go to Yahoo Finance and you can literally download an income statement for any company, right? And if you want to look into personal finance, right, you learn how to, if you've taken a personal finance class in college where you learn how to budget, how to, categorize expenses and income and things like that. Now, if you want to take that into fintech, you have budgeting apps. There's an app, I think it's called Mint, where it categorizes your expenses. It even tells you how much you spent on each expense. It even builds like trends and things like that. So you don't really need to do this manually because we have fintech. Now, if you know the formulas, great. You are going to be able to understand how these things are working, but you can survive without knowing these formulas. I used to spend hours memorizing a formula for the exam, and then you'd be able to remember that. But you remember that you want to work in finance, so you have to remember this formula because professors are going to tell you that this is a really, really important formula. You need to know this formula. If you are going to work in this job in finance, you are going to need to know this formula. But you really don't, because there are tools that almost replicate what any formula does in finance. So there's really no need to waste time learning how to break down the formula to the tiniest detail. Now, I'm not saying that you should ignore formulas. It's important to know how things work, right? We can go back to the car example where you need to have a general idea of how your car works, right? So that if something is wrong with it, you're able to kind of like have an idea of, okay, this might be wrong because it works this way, this way, this way. But you don't have to fully understand it to the tiniest detail. That is going to be for the people that are in positions to build those technologies that replicate the formulas. So that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think anything else that is the opposite of this in the comment section below. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Also, make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. And peace.